You know, in a world that's obsessed with leadership frameworks and performance metrics, the book Leadership and Self-Deception by the Arbinger Institute dares to ask a much, much deeper question. What if the greatest obstacle to leadership isn't external at all, but internal? What if the real barrier isn't out there, but right here, inside of us? Through a really simple story, the book invites us to confront the quiet sabotage of self-deception and unlock the amazing power of seeing others as people. Okay, so to really dig into this powerful idea, here's how we're going to break it down. We'll start with the book's main concept, then we'll define this central metaphor of the box. We'll figure out how we get trapped in there, and most importantly, right, how to get out. Then we'll see how this totally redefines leadership, and we'll wrap up with why this book is less of a manual and more of a mirror. All right, first up, this idea of a journey to clarity. The whole book is framed this way, not as a set of rules you have to follow, but as a personal journey. A journey from a state of being kind of blind to what's really going on to a place of real clarity. And it all comes down to a fundamental shift in perception. So this journey to clarity really begins by understanding the main obstacle. And the book gives it this powerful name, the box of deception. As you're about to see, it's really a cage of our own making. So what exactly is the box? This is the absolute cornerstone of the book. Think of it as a mental and emotional prison we put ourselves in the very moment we go against our own inner sense of what's right for another person. And what happens when we're inside this box? Our whole perception of reality just warps. We literally stop seeing people as people. Instead, they become objects in our world. They're either obstacles in our way, tools we can use for our own benefit, or they're just irrelevant. Now, this isn't some abstract theory. It's something we all experience. Think about it. The last time you ignored a coworker who needed help, or maybe snapped at a family member when you could have been patient, you probably felt a little nudge, right? A sense that you should act differently. Well, the book argues that nudge is your humanity, and ignoring it, that's the very first step into the box. And this quote just brilliantly illustrates the cycle. The moment you betray that inner sense of right and wrong, your entire worldview shifts to make that betrayal seem justified. You start building the walls of your own prison, brick by brick. So how does this process actually kick off? Well, the book explains it through this compelling story about a guy named Tom, a new executive at a company called Zagram. He thinks he's just there for a standard orientation, but it turns into this deep personal exploration of this very dynamic. Through his conversations, Tom learns the anatomy of this process. It all begins with self-betrayal, that moment you ignore the nudge. That single act leads to self-justification, where we start making up stories to make ourselves the hero. From there, our perception gets distorted. We start magnifying others' flaws while inflating our own virtues. And finally, we get entrenched, operating completely from a mindset of blame, resistance, and ego.
And the genius of the book is that it uses a corporate setting to reveal a universal human truth. Through Tom's story, we see this isn't just about leadership at work. This dynamic infects our parenting, our friendships, and our marriages. It's fundamentally a human issue.
So if we're all susceptible to getting in the box, the natural question is, how in the world do we get out? The book's answer is all about developing the outward mindset. The way out isn't about just trying harder or using some new productivity hack. You can't force your way out. It actually requires a much deeper shift in your fundamental way of being, a change in how you see the world, and more importantly, the people in it. And here it is, the crucial point. The key that unlocks the prison door is simply choosing to see other people as people, recognizing that their hopes, fears, and needs are just as real and valid as our own. In that instant of recognition, you are out of the box towards them. This is such a powerful distinction. The focus isn't on changing your actions first. It's all about changing your perspective. When you genuinely see others clearly, as people, your actions will naturally align with that new outward mindset. The what always follows the how. Okay, let's explore how this perspective completely reimagines leadership. It shifts it from a model of control to one of genuine connection. At the company in the story, Zagram, leadership isn't about authority, it's about authenticity. The core message is simple. Real leadership starts with self-honesty. And the results of these two mindsets could not be more different. As you can see here, leaders who are in the box, they create environments of toxicity, disengagement, and blame. But leaders who are outside the box cultivate trust, collaboration, and growth. The difference isn't their strategy, it's their entire way of being. And finally, the book's greatest power is that it doesn't offer you a manual with a checklist of actions. Instead, it acts as a mirror, showing us how these patterns ripple out far beyond the office. This self-deception affects our families, our friendships, and our communities just as much, if not more. And people have put these ideas into practice in some incredible ways. The updated edition of the book shares powerful stories of how this framework has been used for everything from transformative team building and conflict resolution to deep personal growth and healing relationships. Ultimately, Leadership and Self-Deception isn't a book you simply read and put on a shelf. It's a mirror. It doesn't give you a 5-step plan. Instead, it asks you to look honestly at your own life and confront the small, quiet ways you might be betraying yourself and choosing to see the world from inside the box. In a world that often feels disconnected, this idea feels more important than ever. It's a powerful reminder that true leadership and, maybe a truly good life isn't about always being right. It's about being real with yourself and with others. And that leaves us with this final thought. Perhaps the greatest, most courageous act of leadership we can perform is simply to find the humility to step outside of our own justifications and truly see the person right in front of us.